You know that classic Bollywood scene? Young lovers running off, defying their families to get married?
Oh, yeah, totally. Pure drama and romance.
Exactly. It feels like love conquering all. But, well, sometimes real life hits differently and often involves the courts.
That's for sure. And on April 4th, 2025, the Allahabad High Court kind of delivered one of those reality checks.
So that's what we're diving into today, right? This specific court decision.
Precisely. We're looking at their ruling on police protection for couples who marry against their parents' wishes. It really touches on, love, family expectations, and the law here in India.
It really does. And this specific case involved a woman named Shreya Kesarwani and her husband. They actually petitioned the High Court.
They did. They were asking for police security, basically, and also in order to stop their families from interfering.
Wow. Okay. So you'd think there must have been some serious danger involved.
Well, that's what you'd assume. But Justice Saurabh Srivastava, who handled the case, he didn't see it that way. The court found no, quote, serious threat perception.
Serious threat perception. What does that mean in plain English?
It basically means they looked at the evidence presented and they just didn't find any concrete proof that the couple was actually in danger. No real solid threats documented.
So, no threatening letters, no recorded calls, no history of violence, nothing tangible.
Apparently not. Nothing the court felt showed a, clear and immediate risk.
And because of that lack of evidence.
The court dismissed their plea. No police protection was granted.
Okay. But this isn't just about this one couple from Chitrakoot, is it? There's a bigger message here.
Definitely. The court wasn't just saying no to them. It was making a broader point about when the judiciary thinks it's appropriate for the police to get involved in these family matters.
Right. It feels like they're saying, look, you're adults. You can marry who you want, even if your parents hate it. But don't just automatically expect the police to step in unless you can prove you're genuinely unsafe.
Exactly. It's about demonstrating actual danger, not just family disapproval.
It's a pretty firm line they're drawing.
It is. And, the Allahabad High Court wasn't just making this up on the spot. They were leaning heavily on a major precedent.
Precedent. So a previous ruling that guides future decisions.
Yes. Specifically, the Supreme Court's ruling in the Lata Singh versus State of Uttar Pradesh case back in 2006.
Lata Singh, right. What was the key point from that one?
Well, the Supreme Court was very clear then. Courts aren't there to provide bodyguards for every couple that elopes against family wishes.
Okay.
And Justice Srivastava directly referenced that. He noted that Shreya and her husband hadn't provided, and this is almost a direct quote, an iota of evidence suggesting their families were actually planning harm.
Not an iota.
Yeah.
So the issue wasn't that the families were unhappy. It was the complete lack of proof of any threat stemming from that unhappiness.
Precisely. Your right to marry is protected, but state protection services aren't automatic just because of family objections. You need that tangible threat.
So why should someone listening, maybe someone not in this situation, care about this ruling?
Well, it really highlights this constant tension in India, doesn't it? Between our constitutional right to life and liberty, which includes choosing a partner, and these really strong traditional family expectations about marriage and, honor.
That's a huge point. We have these guaranteed rights, but then there's this immense cultural pressure.
And think about the stats. A survey from, I think it was Lucknow CSDS in 2018, suggested only maybe 10% of marriages in India are actual love marriages.
Only 10%? Wow.
Yeah. Most still involve family arrangement to some degree, and going against that often leads to resistance. So this ruling touches a nerve for many.
It also makes you think about the police and courts. I mean, should they be stepping into what are often deeply personal family disagreements?
Right. Where do you draw the line? Police resources are already stretched.
So the court's view seems to be partly practical, too. Say those resources for cases where there's proven danger, not just disapproval.
That seems to be the underlying logic, yes. It's about allocating resources effectively towards genuine threats.
It's almost like the court is playing the role of maybe a tough life coach.
Yeah.
Saying, okay, you made your choice, now be prepared for the fallout and support each other.
That's an interesting way to put it. By really stressing that there was zero evidence of threats here, that not an iota, it's kind of like tough love. Being in love and facing disapproval doesn't automatically mean you need the police.
Okay, so let's get practical. For someone listening who is facing genuine threats after marrying against their family's wishes, what should they actually do based on all this?
Right. Actionable steps. First, and this is crucial, document absolutely everything.
Everything. Like what?
Any threatening calls, messages, visits, get dates, times, who said what, take screenshots, record calls if it's legal where you are, note down any witnesses, build a file.
Because the court needs proof. And the police, too.
Exactly. Which leads to the next step. File a formal police complaint. An FIR, First Information Report. This couple hadn't even done that, apparently.
So get it officially on record.
Yes. And don't just file it and forget it. Follow up. Keep in touch with the police. Give them any new evidence. If you feel ignored, you might need to escalate, maybe talk to a senior officer, or get legal advice.
And knowing your rights is key, too, isn't it? You mentioned Lata Singh, but there are others.
Absolutely. The Shakti Vahini versus Union of India case from 2018 is another big one. The Supreme Court came down hard on interference in intercaste and interreligious marriages and issued guidelines against honor killings. Knowing these precedents empowers you.
So know the law is on your side regarding the marriage itself.
Right. And build a support network. That court advice to support each other sounds simple, but it's vital. Friends, allies, maybe NGOs that help couples in these situations.
Like Love Commandos. I've heard of them.
Yes, groups like that can offer practical help, sometimes even safe houses, which leads to the next point. Prioritize safety.
If you feel genuinely unsafe, find somewhere secure to stay. Be careful who knows where you are.
And know the emergency numbers: 191 for women, 100 for general police help. Basic but important.
Okay, let's flip the perspective. What about the families who disapprove? What's the message for them?
Well, the law is pretty clear, especially after Shakti Vahini. Threatening or harassing your adult children because you don't like their marriage choice, that's illegal.
So your disapproval doesn't give you the right to break the law?
Not at all. Engaging in threats, coercion, violence that can lead to serious legal trouble for the family members involved.
So the better path is?
Yeah.
What? Communication?
Yeah.
Giving space?
Ideally, yes. Difficult conversations, maybe. Or just stepping back and allowing the couple to live their lives. Certainly better than conflict and potential criminal charges.
So wrapping this up, this Allahabad High Court ruling really seems to spotlight this ongoing balancing act in India, doesn't it?
It really does. Balancing individual freedom, the right to choose your life partner, against these deeply embedded cultural norms and family pressures.
The legal system is trying to navigate that space.
Yeah, and this decision isn't necessarily saying family disapproval is fine. It's more a pragmatic call on when the state's protection the police should step in. It emphasizes resilience, knowing your rights, and critically, the need for actual evidence of danger.
It definitely leaves you with a lot to think about, this whole intersection of love, law, family. It's constantly evolving here.
It is. And hopefully the evolution continues towards a place where these choices face less conflict, less need for court intervention in the first place.
A hopeful thought to end on. Thanks for breaking that down.
My pleasure.